Hello everybody, it is me, Chasey Poo. Today, I'm gonna talk to you about something that I've talked about sexuality and stuff in the past before, but this is something that is kind of still hard for me to process, and I've been dealing with it for the last 10 years. So today, I'm actually gonna be talking to you about how I still identify as queer, even though I look straight if I'm with a woman, and how that bothers me. So preface, there is nothing wrong with being straight and there is nothing wrong with being cis, all right? I just need everyone to understand that because I feel like the way that I talk about this makes it sound like being straight is the worst thing in the world. It's not. Hold on. Let me just go on and keep explaining myself here. So I came out as a lesbian before I transitioned when I was 13 years old. And I then realized I was trans when I was 15 and I didn't come out until I was 17, 18. And then I started hormones at 19. But at that point, I still identified as a lesbian because I had only known that identity as myself, and I was very close to the lesbian community, and I had watched all of the L Word, and I love Melissa Etheridge, and I just felt like that was the identity that I was so close to for so many years, and I didn't want to let that go. So when I started to transition and I was now seen as a man in straight world because I was dating women, I had a problem with that because I didn't like to be seen as straight because I had never been seen as that. And I'm always that kid that's always been kind of weird. Not that I'm saying that I'm queer because I like to be weird and like I like to stand out, but I'm going to be 100% transparent, LOL, trans, with you and tell you that being weird and being different for me has always been something that I am, and I've embraced that over the years, and it's something that I love about myself. So fitting in and like blending into society was very weird for me, and that made me feel weird. Do you know what I'm saying? Like for me, being different was my normal, and now being part of everybody and like blending into society was my weird that I just couldn't handle. And I didn't really know what to do. So I said that I was still going to date lesbians, and I did that. And you know, you can do that if you want. But if you look like a guy and you identify as a trans guy at the time and you're like, hey, I want to date a lesbian who's a woman who likes women, there's a little bit of an issue there. I've made videos about this, about how I can understand how some lesbians would like to date trans men, and how sexuality is more fluid than words that we're using and labels that we have on ourselves. But I also understand that it could also be very problematic because maybe the person still sees the trans person as female, or I like still like, oh, you're still so sensitive. You're still kind of like a girl to me. Or like you like those parts, you like I don't know. I'm not here to talk about lesbians who date trans guys right now. I'm here to talk about how I felt as a person who kind of did not blend into society to then automatically blends into society and not liking it. So I primarily dated women, all right? Which means I looked straight in society, and I kind of got used to that concept only because of how I started to see myself. Now, when I met Zuzia, they identified as queer, and I thought that that was so cool that they could use queer as like a identity. I guess like I knew that word, but I guess I had never really used it for myself. So I started to not like try on that label, but it rang so strong with me that I was like, queer. So I started to see myself, everything about my being, my sexuality, sexual orientation, my gender identity, my gender expression, everything to me became queer. And I became to love that. And I think that that's what got me through the whole like, oh, I look normal. I don't want to look normal in society because that's weird for me. I think that it was just the way that I was perceiving myself. So when I was dating Zuzia, who wore very like feminine clothing, so we looked like a very straight couple that was not queer at all, I feel like because of how I saw myself inside, it didn't matter what other people thought. And that's something that I'm still dealing with today. So I've dated men and women in the past, and I still kind of feel like I've always had that experience, and I've noticed that it's not because of how other people see me, it's how I'm perceiving myself. So currently I am dating a cis woman, and I had this issue for like the last year where I felt like I looked too straight and I didn't like to blend in. Not that I'm saying this person looks like really straight, but I'm just saying that like also what does that even mean? But I felt like because us walking down the street, like I feel like I look very queer and look very gay. And it's like, why are you holding this hand of this straight woman? Like it just didn't look like it fit. But that's the thing that I love the most. I was put on this planet, okay, to confuse society. And I love that. So I love being able to kind of embrace that. And even though I look straight and people will assume that I'm straight if they don't know me, because trust me, if you know me, you know I'm not straight. They'll assume that I'm straight because I'm holding the hand and I'm kissing this girl in public, but just this girl. But because of how I see myself, my identity, and because I've been so open in communication about how I feel with her and my experiences with my gender identity, especially because I don't identify as a binary trans guy, like I'm very squiggly, like it's like whatever. And it's the same thing with my sexuality, like I'm not straight, I'm not gay, I'm not pansexual, I'm queer, I'm whatever, man. And I love that word queer because it means something different to everybody and you can interpret it as you wish. So when I'm talking to somebody, I'm like, oh, I have a girlfriend. And they look at me and like, aren't you gay? I'm like, no, I'm queer. Their face is so confused because they don't know what that means. And I'm like, yeah, I'm queer. I'm dating a woman. You want to see a picture of us? Like, we look really cute and I'm queer. And kind of fucks with people. And I like that. And I like that because it is only through my own self-discovery and my self-appreciation of myself that I really realize that it doesn't matter what other people think about my identity and how they will label my identity, because no matter what will happen in this entire world, that will always happen. And just because they're labeling me as straight and I don't like that, doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. Because even if I looked gay as hell and I was dating a guy and we looked gay as hell, people would be judging me anyways. They would be judging my label. If they knew that I was trans, they'd be like, why did you even transition if you just want to be with men? You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll never stop other people from thinking things, so there's no point in doing them. You do you. You do you. And I will say that I had a lot of internal struggle, like, do I want to be dating a woman because I don't want to look straight? I'm queer and I want people to see my queerness. But the thing with me is that I'm like loud about who I am, and I'm very out, and I don't stealth myself. Like, I'm not stealth. So if I accept that I'm with a person who is female and I, can still openly talk about my sexuality, my identity as being queer, and like I could joke about being gay all the time because that's who I am and that's what I like to do, then I feel like it puts a great balance in my life. And guess what? That's what's happening right now. And it makes me feel so at peace with my identity and how other people will see me, because I don't care how you see me anymore, because I care about the relationship that I'm in and having open communication about how we feel. For me, being queer is such a part of my identity, and it's part of my being, and it's part of who I am, and I love it, and I embrace it, and I tap into it, and I do all of these things, and it's in the name of me being queer, and I love that shit, and that's who I am. And I know some people don't like that word, and that's cool. You don't have to use that word, but for me, it's like my whole being is queer, and I love that. So having somebody who accepts that and embraces that as well and loves that about me is just what I need, I guess, and what I have found, and what makes me feel great, because I literally don't care about looking straight anymore, which is weird because like I used to hold her hand in public and be like, oh my God, people are gonna think I'm straight. I hate this because it erases my queer history and my queerness and the queer identity that I have and all of these like things and these hardships that I've had in my life. I feel like it erases that. But now that I've kind of grown to accept that, I don't look straight to myself. So it doesn't really matter that my queer identity is not erased, because I still see it, and the people who are around me, who know me and who love me and who are friends and who watch my videos, you know that I'm queer, and that's all that I care about. I don't care about people who don't care about me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just care about you. I care about me. That's all we should care about. Each other. People who care. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let me know what you think in the comments below. This video was kind of all over the place. I'm moving right now, so I'm like a little, but I'll see you later. Have a great week. Bye.